Everyone wants more money, but most of us weren't taught how to create an abundant life. That's where the More Money Show comes in. If you're ready to have more money, create more freedom, and experience more fun, turn the volume up. It's time to learn how to create the prosperity and life you have been dreaming of. Here's your host, Cassie Parks.
Hello and welcome to the More Money Show. I am your host, Cassie Parks, and today I'm so excited. I have Maggie McReynolds here for her third year of growth interview. And hi.
You're pausing and I'm not saying anything. Hi.
It's all right. And you shook your head. I was like, what? Like, is this not the third interview?
Yeah. I'm just excited.
I know. I'm excited too. I'm excited. And before I forget, I want to say, now I'm going to keep track of this. Like, this is day 110 of the Enchanted Circle for Maggie, which is exciting. So first things first, what's awesome right now?
What's awesome is that I have dropped a lot of old stories about how work had to come and look like, and I've never made more while working less in my life.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
That is awesome. And I, of course, love it very, very much.
I'm pretty fond of it too.
Yeah, I bet it feels pretty good.
It does. It does.
All right. So let's also get this total. You completed your obviously 90 days of Manifest 10K. So what's your manifested total?
I actually had to add in a little number at the last minute here.
I love it.
$30,233.96.
Oh my gosh. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So amazing. So as you all know, the first time Maggie did it, she manifested $20,000. This time 30, because of course she had to like beat her own record naturally, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I want to know how it feels, because this is different, right? Like that was awesome. That was amazing and so good.
Mm-hmm.
But how is this different?
I think it's different because I have no stories and no judgment about how money will come to me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, whatever that turns out to be is just fine. I mean,
right?
Bring it. So I'm not boxing myself in with limiting stories about what it should look like.
Mm-hmm. What are you doing?
Honestly, I'm scaling back my hours and raising my rates.
So good, right? I mean, yeah. So this is key. If you're listening, right, and you're one of those entrepreneurs, like I keep working hard, and you've read Double Your Business, and you're like, yeah, I don't know how to make it. I don't know how to make more money and work less hours. Like this, like what Maggie's doing is, it's her inspired how, right? It's so, it doesn't mean like you can go out and you could actually, anybody could do that, but it like the energy led to that, right? I don't think you went, how can I make more money? Right?
No. I think I'll just work less hours. No.
Right.
No.
Right. But like, tell me how changing your money mindset and starting to step into your future self. You're about 60 days into that. Mm-hmm. Tell me how that has influenced that decision or inspired those decisions and the outcomes.
Well, you asked me 4 questions that I keep on, little sticky notes everywhere. Can I tell the questions?
Of course you can.
She is my future self in this. Does she think this? Does she own this? Does she do this? Does she believe this? And I measure almost everything I do against those questions. I have a sticky on my computer. I have a sticky in my car. I have a sticky in the fridge. I have a sticky by all the doors of my house. I have a sticky on my bedside table. So especially when I'm feeling any dis-ease or unease, I ask myself these questions and I almost always get she wouldn't do this. And then I just stop.
Right?
Whatever it is. And I got really clear that my future self does not work some crazy number of hours a week. Right. And my future self doesn't charge peanuts for what I do. And my future self doesn't have debt. My future doesn't worry about money. My future self doesn't get a lot of energy to it, honestly. Mm-hmm. You may remember, Cassie, that there was a time when we were working together when I was telling you that several times a day, I would go through my income and outgo numbers,
Yes.
like feverishly,
Right.
making sure, did I have enough to have?
Yes.
I often don't even remember to look at that. I mean, I have a balance sheet somewhere because I'm not a complete idiot in terms of responsible business, but
Yeah.
I don't look. I don't even look on a daily basis, let alone several times a day.
What does that feel like?
Free and easeful and happy and sane.
Yes, right?
Yeah.
Oh, so good. I love that. And that's what you wanted, right? Like that's who your future self is,
Right.
right?
And none of that checking was helping anyway.
Right.
I mean, it wasn't accomplishing anything except making me anxious.
Yes.
So.
And there's a interesting and I cannot remember in this moment if it was before you took the future self workshop or right after. But I remember this coaching where you're like, yeah, it's cool. I traded. I was happy with that. And we just had this conversation about what did that mean? And I don't know why that's coming up, but it just like it's so different. I think that's what it is I'm like, man, like 60 days ago, definitely 110 days ago, but even like 60 days ago, it's a 180.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What's the best part about that 180?
I think the best part for me is what I'm modeling for my son, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
He's 17. He's 10 days away from graduating from high school. And I've seen the difference. He's reflecting back the difference in me. So whereas not that long ago, he was kind of panicky about what he should major in, and his come from was what major is going to get me the job that will pay me the most money the fastest. And he's so relaxed on all of that now. He's taking a gap year to decide what his passions are, not just what brings him the most money. And I believe he will be the most effective financially doing that anyway. So watching the effect of the changes in me on my son is just huge for me. Huge.
That's amazing. And what a gift, right? Every parent, and I want you, I would love if you were willing to speak to this as because you come from a different story. And if people have heard your interview, we don't have to like harp on it, but because they've heard where you came from, right? Like single mom to single mom, the story of just enough, which is for sure no longer the truth.
Not even.
Like not even, right? It's like, was that ever you? Like sometimes I go, was that really her? Like
me too.
Right? Yeah. And it wasn't that long ago, right? And so just speak to what it feels like to be able to give him this different story or hand him a blank page.
Yeah. Well, I grew up in several households because my parents were divorced. And in one of those households, I definitely got taught the just enough thing.
Yeah.
And I rode that horse hard. And, I'm a good manifester. I'm a really good manifester. So if just enough was what I was thinking, just enough is what I got. Mm-hmm. And there are worse stories. So yay.
Right. Yeah.
But letting go of that and just basically maintaining a stance of, come on, universe. It's opened up possibilities, not just for me, but for my son. And in his mind, I'm no longer hearing him say, well, I really love X or Y or Z, but I can't do that because there's no money in it. He's free to pursue what genuinely is in alignment with his heart and his soul. And in the knowledge that the money will come.
Yes.
And that's a big shift for all of us. And I'm still seeing that play out. Like, I don't know if he's fully noticing that shift in himself yet, but I sure am.
That's awesome. Because that's what we want all, like any kid in my life, like that's what I want for them. And that's what I hear, like parents just want it to be better for their kids.
Yeah, I mean, we parents make jokes to our kids or to ourselves or among each other about, hope my kid, is wealthy and can support me in my old age. But the truth is, of course we want abundance for our kids, but it's not all about the dollar and the bottom line. We want our kids to be fulfilled and happy and self-expressed. And manifestation is an incredibly powerful vehicle to do that. It's money is a tangible that we can measure by, but it's in some ways the tip of the iceberg.
Right. Oh yeah, 100%. The tip of the iceberg, right? Yeah, it's just the place that we can see, but it's
right. Well, we measure our height in inches,
right?
And we measure our abundance in dollars, and that's we don't have other tools of measurement,
right?
But that doesn't mean that inches, are what defines success.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love it. So I want to talk, let's see. I want to make sure I cover this. So tell us where your business stands, like in terms of capacity and that, because I want to hear, and I want to capture that on the journey. Like I know it, but I want everybody else to hear the journey.
So I started out with a business model that basically had a broad offering, but a single offering. And at Cassie's invitation, I kind of opened that up into 3 different but related offerings. And instantly I had clients. I mean, truly instantly, like the next day or that day. I had
right.
clients.
I think even that day, like I was like, yep, there they go. I was watching it happen on Facebook. Like, here it is. Right. Here it is. Yeah.
Right. And so far, while there's a little back of my voice thing that says, you should do some conventional marketing, I'm really doing gangbusters just on word of mouth. And at least one of my offerings is almost at sold out capacity, to the point where, I need to bring in help, and probably will, in order to keep serving. And that's what I mean when I say I keep raising my rates and working less.
Yes.
That's not a model that would have made sense to me when I first got certified as a life coach. Mm-hmm. If somebody had tried to teach me that fresh out of coaching school, I think I would have been like, what?
What do you mean? Yeah. So I love that. So speak to how getting in touch with, obviously changing your money story, doing Manifest 10K twice, and then tapping into your future self, how having that knowledge or that power or seeing that future has impacted how you can make a decision like that.
The first time I did Manifest 10K, I absolutely received the guidance on future self thinking. Mm-hmm. And I participated, but I think more in a playing with it, it's this cool little vision boardy thing way. I don't think I really integrated. It was more like, I'll just make a vision board and then forget about it. Mm-hmm. In fact, I'd been trained to do so by other coaching programs. Mm-hmm. And this time I really threw myself into, let's be my future self now in all the ways that I can be. And that included a major mindset shift. Does my future self really worry about that stuff? Mm-hmm. Hell no. Does my future self even ask herself these questions? No. Or does my future self have the time to take every Friday off if she wants? Yes. So it's because I'm so much more integrated into my future self, what I have in my refrigerator, what I have in my pantry, what my hair, the color of my hair, what jewelry I wear, what day, how late I sleep, whether I do yoga or take a walk. I'm really fully integrating my future self wherever possible into my current life. And as a result, decisions are a no-brainer, because there's no question in my mind what decision my future self makes. Mm-hmm. And as long as I stay there with her, I can't help but make the right choices.
Yes.
They're the ones that get me from here to where she is. Mm-hmm. So decision making has actually become so simple and so easy. And that's a huge shift, because I used to just torture myself over decisions, both tiny and huge.
Right. Yes. I remember, like, as you were saying that, I was like, oh yeah, I remember some decisions in the beginning where you were like, I think I'm going to do this. I think this is what I should do. Right.
Right.
Maybe I'll do it this way. Maybe I'll say it like, but I won't do that, and I see that now. Like I had forgotten that's who you were until you said that. And I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so for those of you listening, like that is what the beingness is, right? So it's, and you've done a really awesome job of moving from that place, like you said, of doing like, which matter. I mean, it's $20,000, right? Doing the things and still even just playing with like, maybe this is just for fun, right? Maybe I'm going to go all in, maybe I'm not, but playing and being there, doing $20,000, but really stepping into that beingness is 30,000 plus and more coming.
Mhm.
I think that's the best thing I love about, I mean, I love all stories, but what I love is this, it's not really a visual, but it's like the 20,000 came in the form of a job.
Mhm.
So that was awesome, but it was also, there was sort of a cap on. I mean, you got more money along the way, but it really was like, okay, here's this one time, it's cool, but there's kind of a cap on it. This
It
time,
was as big as I could dream at the time.
yes. I love that you said that, because that is what it was, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so what, I don't know, just say more about that. I just want to hear you talk about it.
I don't really feel like I have a cap on how big I can dream, which,
Yes.
and for the first time in my life, that's not scary, right?
Yeah.
It just feels like a room without a roof. Thanks,
Yes.
Carol. And as a result, I don't even spend a lot of time on specific fantasy thoughts like, and I'm going to have a house that's going to be 17,000 feet or, it's not necessary. I know that things continue to be presented to me that are delicious and joyful. I don't have to do a lot of thinking about it to make it happen.
Right.
I just have to stay. I don't have to. I choose to stay in the energy of my future self. She knows how it all comes out.
Yep.
And that's like when I say the first time through Manifest 10K, I manifested as big as I knew how to dream.
Yeah.
Didn't know how to
and
dream.
it was
big.
huge. That was a lot of money.
It was a lot of money.
Beautiful house. I mean,
it was very welcome.
Yeah.
It was very welcome. But I didn't even realize that I still had the brakes on.
Yeah.
Or the emergency brake, maybe.
Right. Yeah.
You know how you can still drive your car with the emergency brake on?
Yep.
It doesn't go quite as fast as it should, but
like,
you can still drive.
Yeah. Yeah.
You'll get where you want to go, just kind of slower, and you're going to burn through the emergency brake.
Right.
So it was a little like that. Like, it was great, but I didn't even realize I had the emergency brake on.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So cool. And I love that. And I just love, that for those of you listening, like that's very typical, right? The first time you go through, you're like, okay, this is awesome and it works. And the second time you're like, oh, this really works. And there's a lot more things I didn't see possible for. And then obviously when we do the Future Self Workshop, it just blows all that wide open.
Oh my goodness. And there's always more. I mean, that's my new philosophy about everything, I guess.
More. Yeah.
Crunch them up. We'll make more. It's my feeling about money and about anything else, but it's also definitely my come from when it comes to learning and integrating this work is that there's always deeper. There's always another layer. There's always another level.
Yes.
And it's in no way hard. It's not like, oh, and now I have to, it's
right.
It's more like rounding a corner on vacation, and you're already in this great spot. You're already in this amazing spot. And then you round a corner and you're like, oh, and this is here too.
Right. Oh, right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So let's talk about scripting. And there was something you said is a perfect segue into it, right? It's like, which I can't remember what it was, but let's talk about scripting. I'm like, there was something really good. Let's talk about scripting and like what it means to be inside a script where you get exactly what you want and like in every moment.
That's actually really powerful. I used to think of scripting, vision boarding, like I say, like you just kind of have a fantasy and then you put it to one side. And if you're lucky, it comes true. And I have successfully manifested that way, come across some list or some old vision board and gone, oh,
me too. Yeah.
Usually that way doesn't happen to be very fast for me. Like it happens, but the emergency brake a little bit.
Yeah.
This time with scripting, so Cassie has me scripting not only every day, but about the same day. I'm scripting about the same day in my future self's life. And at first, I was really like, oh my God, this is so boring. Like, really? I'm going to write about the same day every day. It's like, this is Groundhog Day. What the heck? But if you make that association with Groundhog Day, you notice how every time Phil lives through that day, he goes a little deeper and his experience as a human gets a little richer, and he learns something he didn't know before that's going to make his future possible. And that's what's kind of true of the scripting. Every time I go through the scripting of this one day, which is an anniversary celebration with my partner, I learn something else about me, about him, about our relationship, about the nature of our alignment with each other, and about our future together. And the more I learn, the more ease there is, the more I relax into that outcome of that future day, to the point where now, after writing about this day so many times, there is absolutely no doubt in my mind that this day it's already on the books. I mean, it's just done.
Yes.
And furthermore, the feeling of that day is already present in my life with my partner. So writing that script has, in my current life, really significantly improved my relationship with my partner. I trust him and feel cherished in a way he has always been trying to communicate to me, but in a way I could not let myself feel before. And that's really huge and really different.
That is really huge.
Yes.
Yes.
So money, tip of the iceberg.
Right. Exactly. Right. That's what I was saying. Like, I got to get everybody in the door. I got to get you in with $10,000. That's how I get everybody in.
Right.
Here, right. But that right there is like, that's the magic. Right. Because there's nothing he could have done different until you became the woman who is worth that. Seeing that.
Who could feel it.
Yeah.
And, the woman who couldn't feel that is the woman who, blew through a marriage and other relationships. So that's a pretty big deal.
Yes.
That's a pretty big deal. I've been really well loved my whole life, but I was the one standing in the way of it for a lot of that time.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
That's huge. And that's going to hit somebody, because that's what it's about. I mean, that matters. And then I want to talk about, how does being in that script and getting everything you want make it easier to ask for what you want in life?
Well, so this is an interesting thing. So I'm in a polyamorous relationship, and for the uninitiated, that means that it's an open but everybody permissions. We're all on the same page relationship. My partner is married and in an open marriage, and his wife is one of my dearest friends, and I consider them both family. However, we've been together 11 years, and I've never had a schedule. Like he comes and stays with me like several nights a week, but it's never been a schedule. I've never known when for sure he was coming or when he was leaving, and when he was leaving, when he would come back. And I allowed that to put me in this weird energy of always missing him or always like waiting.
Yeah.
And I finally figured out, in part by doing all this scripting, I wanted to know, barring life happens stuff. Right. I wanted to know when he was coming back. I wanted to know how long he was staying. I wanted to know when he was leaving. I wanted to know when would be the next time. And so I asked for it. I asked him and his wife for it. And I think I thought it might be hard, or that they might have to think about it. And they were not at all. His wife was like, well, 50% of the time makes sense to me. How about you? I was like, okay.
Oh, yeah.
So we looked to the custody schedule that I have with my son's father, actually, as a model, because we endeavored to achieve at least the spirit of 50-50 custody.
Uh-huh.
So I have custody of my boyfriend.
I love it.
50% of the time now.
Yes.
And the difference that has made in our relationship is huge. Like, I don't know if maybe it feels hugely different to him. I haven't actually asked yet. Mm-hmm. We're still fairly new at it. But the difference for me, I'm completely relaxed. I'm I feel completely free within the structure of our relationship to be autonomous, to make choices, to really enjoy him when he's here and enjoy the alone time when he's not, because I know when he's coming back.
Yes.
And I didn't realize what a big deal that was until I felt safe enough, strong enough, empowered enough, my future self enough to just ask.
Yes.
Just ask.
Mm-hmm. Right. Just,
So
yeah.
that's been a huge thing. We have a family meeting tonight. We're starting to have weekly family meetings where we talk about what each of us want. And then we talk about how we can all support each other in getting that, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And that's very much informed by my work here with you.
I love that.
Yeah.
Because it's like so juicy. I'm just like, yes. I remember the first time you told, like, I got a schedule, and I'm like, that's amazing, because I can't imagine. I'm like, well, oh, that's got to be so much better, right? And you're right. Like, and I want to just put this together for people listening, is like, so Maggie scripted, and that day was it totally makes sense that this came out of that day, because
Mm-hmm.
it was a anniversary. Like, there is a start and an end, and you
Right.
knew when he was going to be there. Even we didn't consciously think about that. It's only
Right.
happening now that I'm like, oh, of course that's the day. It's intuition why I picked that day. I mean, there were a couple
Mm-hmm.
reasons, but it wasn't those. But like, being in that space where you got to have that and experience that in that moment allows you to allowed Maggie to bring it into her current self, allowed her to ask for it, and then allows her to be in that relaxed space that is more beingness of her future self.
Right.
Yeah.
And, I think those in what I'll call more traditional relationships or marriages, I know that both women and men experience this, where their spouse may be working long hours and they're feeling, I don't know when they're going to come home. I don't know if they'll be here for dinner. I don't know, and in those situations too, I bet they're not going, hey, here's what I want. What do you want?
Right.
Instead, they're probably like dropping passive aggressive little remarks and,
Yeah. I wish I could go dinner. Yeah. Things like that. I mean,
yeah.
one of
Well,
the,
your dinner's in the oven, dried out again.
right. Yeah, I know. And it doesn't have to, like, and one of my favorite things that you said was like, you're like, we sat and binge watched like, this was the first week of the schedule. You're like, we could sit and just binge watch a show because I wasn't worried I was wasting time.
Yeah. Yeah, I had felt for a long time that every time we were together had to be this big, important, romantic moment. And they are romantic because we're us and we're ridiculously sentimental. But yeah, it's like I didn't know how to relax.
Mm-hmm.
I was always waiting for him to leave.
Yeah.
Not as in, wow, I wish he'd get out of here. But I was
Right.
always dreading the moment when he'd leave. And so it felt like, and there's a larger metaphor there for manifestation and future self.
And abundance.
Money and abundance.
Yes.
If you're always worried, you create this kind of fretful existence where things are difficult. And, oh, I just spent my last dollar, and when's the next dollar going to come? And, how comfortable can you be making purchase decisions if you perceive this as finite and there might never be any more, or you don't know when it will show up and you're not confident it will. I mean, this is an easing into being relaxed with my own energy, with my family, with the people in my life, and because I'm happy with all relaxed and happy with all the energy that is in my life. Money's just another form of that energy.
Yep.
So I'm fully confident, maybe for the first time in my life, that all of that energy is infinite and will always return to me. Always.
Yes.
So there's truly nothing to worry about ever. And you guys, I mean, yeah, I'm really happy to have the bucks, but that's priceless.
Right.
There's nothing to worry about.
Exactly. And that's literally priceless, because that is the key to the abundance, right? Like, it's money gets us to this space, but like that right there, it's priceless, because that energy is what creates more of what you want. It's what creates more abundance.
Yeah.
Which is so fun. So I want to ask as well how this is, because I would save this question, but I know we're going to be talking about something bigger next time. Like, I'm like, I can't save any questions because it's going to be so different, 30 to 45 days from now. But how has this changed the way, I mean, obviously asking for what you want, but also what else has this changed in your family about how you show up and who you are and the confidence I think that you give them?
Because I'm confident that energy is limitless and infinite, I'm able to hold a space in my family where, regardless of what they do or don't do, I've got this and I've got them. Like I'm, giving some work to my partner. I'm going to be talking tonight about giving some work to his wife, my friend. And my son is asking like, hey, can I proofread? Or can so I know I'm creating abundance, not just for me, but for all of us, because in stepping into my energy, we all rise.
Yes.
And that I was saying this to Cassie before we started recording. The really fascinating thing to me is that an old school model of thinking would say that if I tell someone, don't worry about money, I got you, that person might just be like, cool, off to the bingo parlor, or wherever it is. But that's not what's happened. My empowering myself and showing up in this way has created the space and the energy for everyone else to show up that way too. So I don't see the other members of my family going, glad you got this, I'm going to drink for the rest of the day. They're showing up and saying, yeah, and you know what? We've got this too. And when we've all got this, there's no limit to what we can create.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just got goosebumps. That's awesome.
I know.
So good. Yes. So I don't want to forget to say this, and it popped into my head as you were saying that. So Maggie is the editor of my latest book, Own It, and of the next book, The Plan. And so I just want to say that to make sure everybody knows that's where, that's how the Own It got so good. Like everybody who's reading it and they're like, this is amazing. It's amazing because Maggie could pull everything out of my head, just not some of the things that were coming out of my head. And so that we can make that together, this amazing book that I've already heard is changing lives. So she does nonfiction as well. She's actually the person who edited Double Your Business. So, which is like such a cool connection. I love it.
Yeah.
So she does both. So that's there. One last question I have is, you said this when we were talking before. Scripting is I used to think of scripting like a cute daydream.
Mm-hmm.
And it's changed to like, this is in the works. So you kind of alluded to it earlier, but will you say a little bit more?
Yeah, absolutely. So previous to working with you in this capacity, scripting for me or journaling or dreaming, or it just all felt like fantasy play, like dressing up my Barbies.
Right.
Like it was cool, but it was like a game.
Yeah.
And it might pay off and it might not, but fun little game. Mm-hmm. Now, it's still playful for me because I'm certainly not here going, gotta work really hard on my script. But it feels practical and pragmatic. I know I'm doing energetic work when I'm scripting. I've already seen evidence that I am. So yes, I'm still writing about that one day, but I'm no longer going, the same day. I'm trusting that and I've seen already that the energy expands itself way beyond that day, forward into my future, and from that day backwards to where I am right now. So I find scripting fun and easeful, but I also take it seriously. And I'm not sure that I did before.
I would say maybe even not fully in the last interview we did. I mean, like that is.
Yeah. I believe that's true.
Which I love. Because that's the process. That's the magic. And so I love hearing you say that. People might think that's weird because it's my thing, but I love that because it's all part of the journey. So any final thoughts as we wrap up that you want to make sure somebody hears today?
Yeah. I'm glad you brought up the books, because if there's anybody out there who is reading or has read one of Cassie's books, and either the nonfiction or these works of fiction, they are, I'm going to say, deceptively simple stories. Just like scripting feels like a deceptively simple exercise. but they are rich with energy and power. And if you love what you're reading, you're going to love working with Cassie even more.
Thank you. I love that. Awesome. So good. You can get them all on Amazon. Just put in Cassie Parks, and tell people where they connect with you.
You can find me at maggiemcreynolds.com or at iamunsettling.com. I wrote a book called Unsettling, and that's what's up with that. Or just put in Maggie McReynolds on Facebook and friend me up, because I love making new friends and figuring out where our synchronicities and mutual play lies.
Yes, you do love that. Like that's, yeah. I mean, I love that to an extent, but you really love, that's yours. That's one of your magic spots, right? So if you feel like you want to friend Maggie on Facebook, definitely do it. And obviously go to Amazon and check out her book, Unsettling. And if you're ready to write a book, jump in. It'll be awesome. And you want to get on a wait list. By the time this comes out, there will be a wait list.
I'm really close to being on a wait list now. So don't let that deter you at the risk of, no, I'm not going to apologize for this. No. I'm really good. That's why I'm on a wait list. Get on the wait list.
Yeah. Yeah. It's awesome.
I was going to mealy mouth that. And I'm like, no.
Right. I love it. I'm like, yep, score. I love it. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story and your life and your journey of growth with us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for the invitation.
You are most welcome. And thank you all for tuning in. I know that you picked up some nugget today. And if you're inspired, head over to cassieparks.com and you can check out the Enchanted Circle. But make sure to come back next time to hear Maggie's next interview, as well as listen in next week for the next interview in the Year of Growth series. Have a good one.
Thanks for joining us on The More Money Show. To learn how to attract more money into your life, go to your favorite book retailer and order Cassie's book, Manifest $10,000.